Welcome to gcready.com. Let us see some of the questions on database testing. What is a database? Databases are designed to offer an organized mechanism for storing, managing, and retrieving the information. Why do we need a database? There are some unique problems if not using the database, like size of the data. Huge amount of data cannot be stored in spreadsheets and text files. Ease of updating the data. Multiple people cannot edit the same file at same time. Other people must wait until the files are available to update, which results in wastage of time. Accuracy. Due to the issues of incorrect data without any validation results in inaccuracy of the data. So, the data accuracy is hard to maintain and accuracy is in the question. Security. You cannot secure the data in the text files and spreadsheet. Anyone can access the file and read any data present in the file. So, storing the data will not work where privacy is difficult to maintain. Redundancy. The duplication of the data can be possible using text files or spreadsheets. This will lead to accuracy issues. Maintaining and updating multiple copies is not an easy task. Incomplete data. Some of the data is not considered as important. So, such data not entered in the file has no validation in place, which leads to the data integrity is in the question. To prevent the above problems associated with storing the data in the text file or spreadsheet, the database is required. What is database testing? Database testing is segmented into four different categories. They are testing of data integrity, testing of data validity, database related performance, testing of functions, procedures, and triggers. In database testing, what do we need to check normally? Normally, the things that we check in database testing are constraint check, validation of a field size, stored procedure, matching application field size to the database, indexes for performance based issues. What are the ways of writing the test cases for database testing? The backend tables used for each requirement must be mentioned. Behavior of each flag and their status updates must be written. If any triggers stored procedures are used, input and output parameters can be mentioned. Default values should be checked. Explain what is data-driven test. In a database table, to test the multiple data, data-driven test is used. By using this, it can easily replace the parameters at the same time from different locations. Example, using .xsl sheets. What is DBMS? DBMS stands for Database Management System. There are different types of DBMS: network model, hierarchical model, and relational model. What is DML? DML stands for Data Manipulation Language. It is used to manage the data with schema objects. It is a subset of SQL. What are DCL commands? What are the two types of commands used by DCL? DCL stands for Data Control Language. It is used to control the data. The two types of DCL commands are grant and revoke. Grant. By using this command, user can access the privilege to the database. And revoke. By using this command, user cannot access the database. What is DDL and what are their commands? To define the database structure, DDL is used. DDL stands for Data Definition Language. The various DDL commands include create, truncate, drop, alter, comment, and rename. What RDBMS stands for and what are the important RDBMS that SQL uses? RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management Systems. It uses SQL. And the important RDBMS that SQL uses are Sybase, Oracle, Access, Microsoft SQL Server, etc. To manage and manipulate the test table, what are the SQL statements that you have to use in database testing? The statements like select, insert, update, delete are used to manipulate the table, whereas alter table, create table, and delete table are used to manage the table. How to test database manually? Testing the database manually involves checking the data at the backend and to see whether the addition of the data in front end is affecting the back end or not. And same for delete, update, insert, etc. While testing stored procedures, what are the steps does a tester take? The tester will check the standard format of the stored procedures, and also the tester checks the fields whether they are correct, like updates, joins, indexes, deletions as mentioned in the stored procedure. Explain the QTP testing process. QTP testing process is based on following steps: creating graphical user interface map files. It identifies the GUI object which has to be tested. Creating test scripts. The test scripts are recorded. Debug tests. The test should be debugged. Run test. The test cases should be run. View results. The results reflects the success or failure of the test. Report detects. If the test is failed, the reasons will be recorded in the report detect file. How does QTP evaluate test results? Once the testing is done, QTP will generate a report. This report will show the checkpoints, system message, and error that were detected while testing. The test results window will show any mismatches encountered at the checkpoints. How to use SQL queries in WinRunner or QTP. In QTP, using output database checkpoint and database checkpoint, select SQL manual queries option and enter the select queries to retrieve the data in the database and compare the expected and actual. What is load testing and give some examples of it. To measure the system response, load testing is done. If the load exceeds the user's pattern, it is known as stress testing. Examples of load testing are downloading the set of large files, executing multiple applications on a single computer, subjecting a server to large number of emails, and allotting many tasks to a printer one after the another. What is stress testing? Stress testing is a complex test in which testing is conducted under reduced machine and system resource conditions. The resources that undergo stressing may include internal memory, CPU availability, disk space, and network bandwidth. Stress utility is generally used to reduce the internal resources. What is performance testing and What are the bottlenecks of performance testing? Performance testing determines the speed of the computer system performance. It includes the quantitative tests like response time measurement. The problem in performance testing is that you always need a well trained and experienced manpower. Also, the tools you use are expensive. What is data recovery testing? Recovery testing is an intricate system test that compels the software to come down in a number of ways, later ascertains, and verifies that recovery is performed as soon as possible. An automated recovery will ensure reinitialization mechanisms, data recovery, and restart, which are evaluated for correctness. However, if the recovery needs active human intervention, the average time to repair should be well within the acceptable limits. How to test database procedures and triggers. To test the database procedure and triggers, input and output parameters must be known. Execute statement can be used to run the procedure and examine the behavior of the tables. To test the database procedure and triggers, following steps are to be followed. Open the database project in Solution Explorer. Now in View menu, click the database schema. Open the project folder from Schema View menu. Right-click on the object that has to be tested and then click on the dialog box that says Create Unit Test. After that, create a new language test project. Select either Insert the unit test or Create a new test and then click OK. Project that has to be configured will be done by clicking on the Project Configuration dialog box. Once it is configured, click on OK. What are the myths related to database testing? Myths or misconceptions related to database testing are: database testing requires plenty of expertise and it is a very tedious job. In reality, effective and efficient database testing provides long-term functional stability to the overall application. Thus, it is necessary to put in hard work behind it. Next myth: database testing adds extra work bottleneck. Reality: on the contrary, database testing adds more value to the overall work by finding out hidden issues and thus proactively helping to improve the overall application. Database testing slows down the overall development process. In reality, significant amount of database testing helps in the overall improvement of quality for the database application. Database testing could be excessively cost. Reality. Any expenditure on database testing is a long-term investment which leads to long-term stability and robustness of the application. Thus, expenditure on database testing is necessary.